Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the New Muslim Workshop. My name's Mahmoud, and today we're going to talk about the meaning of the abbreviation CYA. Stick around.
Welcome to the New Muslim Workshop.
Welcome back. So there's two meanings to the abbreviation CYA, one that is corporate and one that is Islamic. I'm going to explain both. But what does CYA stand for? Well, cover your posterior. In the corporate world where I initially learned about this, it was explained to me that what I should do is I should always have a paper trail that clearly shows who had given me a specific instruction. And that is so that in the future, if somebody questions something that I did, I can clearly show that that person or this person, that manager or this manager, had requested the action. Now, this has saved me so many times I can't explain, but it has been very, very helpful for me in that whenever somebody asks for something that's a bit weird or kind of didn't make sense to me, I would say, can you please send me an email telling me to do this specific action? And then in future meetings, when somebody goes, who told you to do that? I'll say, well, it was John, it was Jessica, whatever it is. And I can pull up the email and I can say, look, here in this email, so-and-so had requested this. And I've effectively saved my own posterior. I've gotten myself out of trouble just by saying, well, I was told by one of the managers to do this. Now, CYA in Islamic terms, and this is a term I made up or I'm borrowing from the corporate world, is cover your awra. Now, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he describes the women at the end of days, where he says that the women will be kasiyatun ariyat, that they will be dressed but naked, that they will seem to have a covering, seem to be clothed, but in fact, if you look at them, nothing is left to the imagination. You can tell everything. In fact, you might see through the clothing itself and see exactly what's going on underneath. Cover your awra for the Muslim man and the Muslim woman has to do with the idea of covering those things that you shouldn't be displaying to those who are not your spouses. Now, more specifically, and the reason why I originally wanted to make this video was the idea of covering your awra during Salah, because many brothers that I've seen in the masjid, in the mosque, they come to Salah and they don't wear appropriate clothing. And what I'm talking about with regards to appropriate clothing is that the clothes that they have do not cover them properly. So if they go into ruku', then their plumber's crack or the bottom of their back will show. And if it shows, then effectively their salah becomes invalidated. Imagine you coming all the way to the masjid. Imagine you doing all of the, traveling all the way there, having the intention, making wudu, and then coming into the masjid, not properly covered, going into salah, and then for the fact that your back, or your lower back, I should say, is showing, your salah becomes invalidated. Now, isn't that a shame? Isn't that a problem? Isn't that wasteful? So, effectively, what we want to do is explain what you should do when you go to the masjid and how you should be dressed appropriately during that period so that when you go to the masjid, your salah counts. It is not invalidated by the way that you are clothed. Now, again, this is the original meaning of this video, but the ultimate meaning of cover your awra is to cover that which people should not be seeing, people who are not your husband and people who are not your wife. Your unmentionables should not be shown. If they can't be mentioned, they shouldn't be shown, and they shouldn't be out there for public view. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go inside, inshallah, and then I'm going to show you all the different variations that can help you cover yourself properly and hopefully maintain a situation where you are not invalidating your own salah because you're dressed inappropriately, and let's say you are dressed inappropriately, what can you do about it when you reach the masjid? Let's go inside. Welcome back. So we're inside and we are discussing how you should be dressed in the masjid. And the reason why is we want to avoid wearing anything that might invalidate our salah. Now, in my case, I'm wearing, in this case, a t-shirt that isn't, I guess it's not very long. It's a regular standard t-shirt. And I'm a bit on the chunky side, so this stomach is actually pulling up my t-shirt. And I'm wearing jeans. Now, between the top of my jeans and the end of my shirt is about 10 centimeters. Now, in the situation where I am going into ruku' is this bowing movement. How much difference or how much distance is there left now? This is my belt now. There's actually no difference at all. The distance has disappeared completely. So to mitigate this, generally what I do when I go to the masjid is I use this guy here, which is an izar. The izar is one of the articles of clothing that the Prophet ﷺ used to wear. He used to wear it at home, casually, and if he left the house and he needed to do something very quickly outside. In our situation, I'm going to wear it because I need to cover myself when I'm at the masjid so that my, posterior, my awra, doesn't show. So let's clip this guy. And this is basically what it is. I take this izar, I get into it, and then I tie it around myself. Okay? I tighten it by kind of setting it up so that it doesn't fall. It's basically a friction fit. And now, let's get this guy off of me. And now, if I go into ruku', you can see that my back is not going to show. So that is the quickest way for you to mitigate the idea of, wearing clothes that could possibly invalidate your salah. If you come to any of the masajid in Sydney, you will find a basket, and I've said this before, you find a basket that is right next to the door of the masjid that contains tons of these. And that's because in Australia, because of kind of the weather and how hot it is sometimes, a lot of the younger generation have gotten into the habit of wearing shorts like the kuffar and maybe t-shirts that are not very long. And so this sort of copying of the kuffar has led them to wear clothing that is not appropriate. And so when they come to the masjid provides these clothes, these izars that they can wear, they can tie around themselves and will allow them to pray without their awra showing, without their back showing, and without their knees showing. So it covers everything at the bottom. Now, what's better than this? Is there something that is better than wearing the izar? Well, as a matter of fact, absolutely. The best thing you can do for yourself when you want to go to the masjid and you want to guarantee 1000% that your awra is not going to show is wear a thobe. If you wear a thobe, no matter what you do in ruku', nothing's going to show. Now, of course, we're talking about a thobe that is not see-through. So just to be clear, the thobe has to be opaque, solid, not see-through. So we don't wear anything see-through, and we don't wear it so tight that people kind of can tell the shape of our body, even for men. This is not what we are talking about. We're not talking about something so tight that when you're walking, you have to penguin walk to get anywhere. So the thobe is the best thing you can do for yourself when you want to go to the masjid. And this will guarantee that in no way, shape, or form, your awra will show when you're praying. And so, really, how can your prayer be invalidated unless you break wind? What else? What else can you wear so that you are basically safeguarded from invalidating your prayer. And the other thing you can wear is this guy. This is a shalwar qamis, and this is a shalwar qamis. And basically, if you take a look, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. This is what our brothers in Pakistan, brothers in Afghanistan, and Bangladesh, India, this is their national dress. And this is kind of derived from the qamis. And it's so long that it will cover your back no matter what. So if you go into ruku', nothing's going to show. It's going to cover your back. What else is there? Well, I find that a really long shirt, and this has to do with you and how you do your shopping. A very long shirt is going to do the job. If you can go and while you're shopping, keep in mind the fact that when you want to go pray, you do not want to be bothered in freaking out that your awra might be showing. If your shirt is long enough, it's going to cover your posterior. It's going to cover your awra, and you're not going to end up in a situation where it might show. So we've spoken about wearing long shirts or longer shirts. They do sell I've seen many of the youth wear this, where it's kind of like a shortened version of the shalwar qamis, but it has a hoodie. And I haven't bought one yet. I'm thinking of buying one, but it's not for this weather. It's not for summer. And if you pray in that, there's no chance as well for your back or your awra to show. However, it doesn't cover your knees. So you need to wear pants. You need to wear pantalon or jeans, something long, as opposed to shorts, something that covers your knees. Now, I understand, we've already mentioned, that the knees showing are in contention. You know, some scholars say, yes, the knees are fine to show. It's the thighs that should not show, and that if they show will invalidate the salah. I get it. But again, as mentioned earlier, we're talking about the idea of it's better to be sort of prudent about this and careful than for us to be surprised in Yawm al-Qiyamah. So if we are to cover our bases and effectively CYA for our CYA, then we should be fine. So the izar is one of the solutions that they've sort of implemented here in Australia. Wearing the thobe is a sure way of completely covering and sort of not even worrying about this whole issue. And the last is shalwar qamis. And of course, possibly this new thing, I don't know what it's called. I will show it here in the video, inshallah. I'll do the research in post-production and add it so that we can figure out the name and where you can buy one of those. And effectively, that's what it is. It's the idea of covering yourself so that the back here, the bottom of your back does not show. Your plumber's crack is, well hidden, and your awra is not on display for everybody. And so that way, your salah is not invalidated accidentally. Now, it's important to know that if somebody is caught in that situation, they tuck their shirt in, and they try to, as much as possible, cover themselves when they realize that they're in that situation, that this in itself is kind of a license because they're aware that, their salah might be invalidated. And so during their salah, they would constantly try to tuck their shirt in and try to cover themselves. They're actively trying to mitigate the idea that their awra is showing. And that's good. But they should also understand that they shouldn't be wearing these clothes, and that in a situation where they have to go and pray in the masjid or at home, even at home, if you pray like this at home, your salah will be invalidated, because if your bottom is showing, then your awra is showing, and your awra shouldn't show, whether there's somebody there or not. And this is something that we have to keep in mind, that the angels are always around us, and the angels have hayat, and the angels don't want to see your posterior, brother. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and inshallah I'll see you in the next video, and CYA. Salam alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.